Welcome back to Free Speech Nation. And free speech in schools is under a spotlight after a teacher was reported to the government counter-terrorism officials and forced to resign for showing students videos of former US President Donald Trump in a class, prompting calls from education leaders to restore common sense in classrooms. Critics say that the case has raised concerns about safeguarding procedures and academic freedom. And this comes as police leaders have announced plans to scrap the recording of so-called non-crime hate incidents, a practice that logged alleged hostile behaviour on records, even though you might not meet the threshold of a criminal offence. Well, to find out more about these stories, we're joined by External Affairs Officer at the Free Speech Union, Connie Shaw is with us. Thank you for being here. So, showing a video, literally, well, there is a chance that we have to cut to coverage of Donald Trump, as I'm hearing that showing a video of Donald Trump could get you referred to Prevent. Am I a terrorist?
Well, by some people's definition, even the Prevent's definition of a extreme right-wing terrorist ideology is cultural nationalism, and they define that as being concerned that Western civilization is under threat by mass migration and lack of assimilation. That is an official category of extreme right-wing terrorist ideology, according to our own state.
So I am a terrorist. I knew you were going to say that.
I'm also a terrorist, apparently. But so this case is a teacher at Henley College in Oxfordshire, and he was a politics teacher, and he was delivering a lesson talking about the US election, which had just recently happened in 2024, and he was talking about it at the time, and obviously Trump had won. And part of the lesson was showing the students videos of his campaign to, how does a leader successfully campaign to be elected as the President of the United States. And two students complained about the teacher to the school. They said that they accused him of being biased and said that the videos that they were being shown wasn't relevant to what they were being taught, which is extraordinary because it's an A-level politics lesson. And the school took this investigation forward. They told him that he had made some students feel quite uncomfortable, and they referred him to the local designated safeguarding officer, or authority officer, I should say, sorry, LADO. And LADO came back and recommended that he be referred to Prevent because his views could be seen as radical, potentially extremist, and that he could have caused emotional harm to students. And with the backing of the Free Speech Union, he brought a grievance against the school. He managed to get a payoff of £2,000, but he was effectively forced to resign. But this case on its own is not an isolated incident. The Free Speech Union has a growing collection of cases exactly like this. A couple of weeks ago, even last week, I was talking about another teacher who was working at a secular school, and he was sacked, basically, because he had, after he had been referred to his local LADO, because a parent had complained after he told some Muslim students that they shouldn't be washing their feet in the communal sinks in the toilets. And he was trying to teach about religious tolerance because there had been sectarian bullying going on in a primary school. Girls who didn't wear a hijab were being teased. Other students who didn't fast in the same way were being mocked. That teacher also got in trouble, referred to safeguarding authorities. And it's very clear there's evidence that some people are using safeguarding protocols, which are there to protect children from sexual predators, abusive parents. They are weaponising these protocols against people whose views they disagree with. And it's awful because if you're told you can't work with children, most people are going to assume, when you have to explain to people, I've been told I can't work at this school anymore because I'm a risk to children, most people assume that's because you've done something truly horrific, the worst possible things you can think of. Yet actually, these are people who just have, typically, in the cases that we've seen, centre-right or just non-woke orthodoxy views. It happened with Jamie Michael as well. The Welsh FA decided that he wasn't allowed to coach his own daughter's football team because of the 12-minute video he'd posted on Facebook, which he had been found not guilty of stirring up racial hatred by a jury, acquitted in 17 minutes, but the Welsh FA decided to punish him anyway, told him he could watch his daughter play football, but his behaviour would be monitored on the pitch side. He was referred to safeguarding authorities as well.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
You could say that wouldn't happen again in the future when you don't get access to a jury, but maybe that's a discussion for a different topic. It's almost like this story breaks down into two parts, because it's almost understandable, knowing what teenagers are like, that there might be a vexatious complaint made by a teen. But the fact that it gets moved higher up, there is meant to be a system in place to stop teenagers just doing stuff like that. That's where the real worry is, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think it's quite evident to me, at least, especially my own experience at school, that adults seem to allow children to lead the way. It's the children who are dictating what the adults decide to do, and because they're so pressured by the authoritarianism of basically what we would describe as woke politics, that they just submit. And this teacher, you say, there are vexatious complaints. The teacher, he told the Telegraph that he believes that it was complaints from students whose mocks he had downgraded. He didn't give them very good marks on their mocks, and they weren't very happy with that, and so they decided to weaponise the fact that he'd shown them videos of Trump's campaign. He'd also shown videos of Kamala Harris's campaign. So yeah, it seems like it was a vexatious complaint, but yet the school took it seriously. Not only that, Lado then said that he should be referred to prevent. That is our first point of call for counter-terrorism. That's where we refer people who we think are at risk of being radicalised by an ideology that could cause them to actually be violent. And this is a teacher doing his job as a politics teacher.
Yeah. And again, it's this area of, surely there should be some people who don't agree with Trump's politics who should find this appalling. And that little space seems to be not populated anymore. It's bizarre that you don't have to love a political side to think, no, you're allowed to express that, especially if you're showing both sides and discussing it in an educational environment. But do you know what? You're also here to tell us about some hope, that maybe all of this, the tide is changing. In the old days, it would all be non-crime hate incidents, this, that and the other, but that's coming to an end.
Yes, so shortly after that Graham Linehan had no further action taken against him after he was arrested by 5 armed police officers at Heathrow for some tweets, the Met announced that they would no longer be investigating non-crime hate incidents, which was good, but we thought we don't just want them not investigated, we don't want them recorded at all. Now we have had the news that the police have recommended that they shouldn't be recorded at all, and this is brilliant because non-crime hate incidents, although they were originally created in goodwill to prevent what happened to Stephen Lawrence, the awful racist murder of him in the 90s, but the way that non-crime hate incidents have gone on to be recorded have basically, their very definition is anyone who feels that they have been offended and they perceive the directed speech towards them to be targeted at one of their protected characteristics. The police, even without any investigation, can put an NCHI next to your name. You may not even know if you have one of these. We may all have one of these and we may not know, but they do come up on enhanced DBS checks, so it could stop you from getting a job. And we've seen, in particular, trans activists use these to weaponise against people they don't like. Obviously, the most famous case being Harry Miller, who had a non-crime hate incident recorded against his name after he expressed his gender-critical views. So it's great news, but again, cautious optimism, because we want to see all previous and historic non-crime hate incidents to be deleted from people's records. And that's one of the reasons why Lord Young, Toby Young, that you heard from earlier, is putting his amendment onto the Crime and Policing Bill to make sure that all historic NCHIs will be scrapped and deleted from people's records. So hopefully Shabana Mahmood, Home Secretary, will review this recommendation from the police and hopefully take on board Lord Young's amendment in the crime and policing bill.
I heard somewhere it was pronounced Lord Jung, but it might be a different thing. Maybe he seems to complain about that. So we don't know if the previous ones are going to be wiped.
Not yet.
Also, I suppose we heard before that they shouldn't be used as much, and that didn't really happen. There was information given or guidance given to some police forces to not record them as much, and that didn't happen. Will this definitely be able to be followed through, or will some people at the business end of the policing still manage to find a way around it?
Well, we'll see. We know that there is significant issues with the College of Policing, the way that police are trained. We know that they're ideologically captured to take what we call hate crimes to be extremely serious. And also, part of the announcement that a common sense system will replace non-crime hate incidents. And it will mean that they have said that only behaviour that is categorically the worst type of antisocial behaviour will be recorded against people's names. That is defined in law. So hopefully when they say common sense, they mean it, but we don't know really whether common sense actually means common sense. But we won't stop fighting this battle. We haven't won the war, but we're still fighting this next battle to make sure that all of them, historic, have been deleted as well. Yeah. But it's certainly a step in the right direction towards policing our streets and not our tweets.
Yes, and I suppose, I mean, common sense doesn't seem to be that common. I honestly think we should rebrand it as uncommon sense, because it feels like we need that wake-up of realising, no, just because everyone you know thinks this doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. I'd slightly worry that if you now we know that there's a higher bar to be met before something gets recorded, whether things will be rounded up, bumped up, in the opinion of whoever's arresting you.
What do you mean?
As in, like, now just a non-hate crime incident will be recorded, but if it's deemed to be severe enough, well, will more lowercase things be deemed to be more severe now?
Well, potentially, but with this new category of actual antisocial behaviour, supposedly if it's serious antisocial behaviour, then that's already a crime in many instances. So hopefully there will be no such thing as non-crimes being recorded. I mean, the very name is so ironic. Why should we have any mark next to our name if you haven't committed a crime? You categorically are innocent because you've committed a non-crime. So it's yet to be seen. We just hope that, like you say, the common sense truly becomes more common and actually common sense.
We'll see. Thank you very much for joining us on that one. That's the External Affairs Officer of the Free Speech Union, Connie Shaw. Thank you. Regarding the teacher who was reported to counter-terror forces, a spokesperson for the college has said the Henley College does not comment on individual allegations or ongoing investigations. We are committed to safeguarding the well-being of all our students and staff and follow statutory safeguarding procedures in line with Keeping Children Safe in Education 2025. Allegations are handled with due care in accordance with statutory guidance with appropriate support provided to all involved. Well, you're up.